Yo, what is up, guys? Del Boy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. So Dillian Whyte defeats Mariusz Wach by a 10-round unanimous decision on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz 2. I've got to say, this was actually a really tough fight for Dillian Whyte. Credit to Mariusz Wach for turning up and giving it a go. Mariusz Wach, he's been around a long time. He's fought some good guys, but he's really coming towards the tail end of his career, and potentially, he could slip into that journeyman mindset where he just doesn't want to get stopped and he just wants to make the distance. But he came to fight and he gave Dillian Whyte some tough moments. It's got to be said, Dillian Whyte really wasn't in good shape going into this fight, and I guess it's somewhat understandable given what's gone on, obviously, with his career. In regards to the PED scandal, which has now actually all been cleared up, Dillian Whyte is in the clear, but, the fact he turned up in that type of shape was probably because, he's had a lot on outside the ring. However, is that really an excuse? I mean, ultimately, he's still a professional fighter. He should really still be keeping in the gym, keeping in shape, ready for a potential fight date. But, he really let himself go and put on some pounds, and it really affected his performance in a negative way. Like I said, it's somewhat understandable, but at the same time, the guy is a professional fighter. He's a professional athlete. He should be living that type of lifestyle where he always turns up to fight in decent shape, no matter what the circumstances. So that is a big negative in regards to this fight for Dillian Whyte. And yeah, he was made to work really hard for the 10-round unanimous decision. Dillian Whyte was winning the majority of the rounds based on work rate. He was landing some good body shots and some nice right hands to the head. He was a bit more busy than Mariusz Wach throughout this fight, as we expected. Dillian Whyte is obviously a lot younger and a lot fresher than Mariusz Wach, so that really wasn't a surprise. And that activity was winning him a lot of rounds. However, Mariusz Wach was still in this fight and pushing Dillian Whyte. Surprisingly up close, Mariusz Wach actually had some success. Dillian Whyte is quite good up close for a heavyweight, like we say, good body puncher, nice inside work. But Mariusz Wach actually had his own success on the inside, landed some good chopping shots around the side of the head, and like I said, made Dillian Whyte work in every single round. And even from the outside at times, Mariusz Wach was catching Dillian Whyte with some clean right hands. I think towards the end of the fight, he felt a couple of those shots, kind of buzzed a little bit in certain instances where he would catch a big shot and you could see it have an effect on him. And actually, as this fight went on, it looked like Mariusz Wach was fancying it more and more, and it was one of those fights, in my opinion, that got better as it went along. It was actually a much better fight than I anticipated. I was kind of expecting a similar fight to the Helenius fight when Dillian Whyte fought Helenius. I felt Mariusz Wach would try to fight to survive. I didn't really expect him to fight with this much ambition, and it made for a good fight. I enjoyed it, I really did. So again, credit to Mariusz Wach for making a fight of it and making it entertaining. I've got to say, in regards to Dillian Whyte's performance, it really wasn't good. It has to be said. A lot of defensive flaws. He got hit a lot. Obviously, the weight, as we mentioned earlier, was a big concern, and it affected his performance. All in all, just not a good performance from Dillian Whyte. Got hit far too much. He got involved far too much. His punch technique at times was pretty sloppy. He never really got his jab going consistently. And overall, in my opinion, just a disjointed performance from Dillian Whyte. Like I said, obviously I know what's gone on outside the ring, and I know that would affect you somewhat, but just expected a little bit better, to be honest. There we go, that's just my opinion. But, going forwards, obviously we expect a better Dillian Whyte, a more in shape Dillian Whyte, a Dillian Whyte who is taking his opponent more seriously. So we'll get a better version of Dillian Whyte when he comes back in a big fight. But, it still has to be said, the guy has a lot of defensive flaws. His punch technique at times is pretty poor, throws himself off balance, not the most accurate guy out there, and a good counterpuncher would have a field day with Dillian Whyte. A lot of people are talking about a fight with Deontay Wilder. You know, Dillian Whyte himself has been chasing that fight for quite some time. I'd like to see it. I do believe Dillian Whyte has some attributes that would trouble Wilder. You know, if he gets close and he can work that body, I think Wilder could have some really hard moments and potentially even lose. You never know. But I cannot see Dillian Whyte avoiding that right hand. I really can't. You know, Dillian Whyte, if anyone out there is open for that right hand from Deontay Wilder, it's Dillian Whyte. You know, throws himself off balance with a lot of punches, comes in with that left hand low, again open for the right hand. You know, his jab again is very easily countered with the right hand over the top. Deontay Wilder will have all of the openings in the world to land that straight right hand, and the way Dillian Whyte fights, he's going to walk right into it, and I could see him getting knocked out cold. It's still an interesting fight, don't get me wrong. I'd still like to see it, but you know, the more I think about that fight, the more I think Deontay Wilder levels him and flatlines him, to be honest with you. But Dillian Whyte, you know, he's got some options now. He's back in the ring. He's active again. His whole drug test scandal's been cleared up, so he can move on now. Who would we like to see Dillian Whyte fight next, realistically? I mean, Anthony Joshua, I think he's out of the question because he's got mandatories, obviously. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are going to fight each other again. Alexander Usyk, you know, he's going to go his own route. He's already fought Chisora a couple of times. Who can Dillian Whyte really fight? Pulev's going to wait for his mandatory shot. You know, maybe Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin. Obviously, Povetkin drew against Hunter on the undercard. Didn't look that great. Still a big name. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make that fight, maybe. But right now, you know, the options out there for Dillian Whyte aren't exactly vast. But he can still stay active, you know, fight some guys and get some good wins. So we'll see what happens with Dillian Whyte. But he certainly needs to improve when he next gets to the ring. Come in better shape and just be more about it, you know. But, you know, he won the fight by a unanimous decision. I felt he clearly won it. But yeah, a decent fight. Share your thoughts below. What did you make of Dillian Whyte's performance? And what did you make of Mariusz Wach? Were you surprised like I was? Because I wasn't expecting that type of performance, to be honest. But there we go. Anyway, share your thoughts below. Peace.